everyone. You're watching special coverage from the 42nd ASEAN Summit 2023 here in Labuan Bajo, where the main summit's first day has just concluded today. And one of the main agendas for the 42nd ASEAN Summit 2023 this year is ASEAN leaders' interface with the representatives of ASEAN Business Council or Advisory Council or ASEAN's BAC. Now, to learn more on what being discussed during the meeting, we are joined by the chairman of ASEAN's Business Advisory Council, Mr. Arsjad Rasjid. Thank you so much for coming to see today's video.
No, thank you. Appreciate actually being invited to actually talk today here at
Yes,
today.
well, it's our honor, and well, I know you're very busy, Mr. Rasjid.
Busy is all call of work. So as long as we are doing things for Indonesia, and I think it's all for the people.
Yeah.
And we're talking about economy, we're talking about prosperity. You know, without economic growth, without businesses, right, there will be no prosperity.
Yes.
So the key factors prosperity is economy. So that's the part at all. So
Sweet.
it's, as I said, is it's a heart because it is actually really the people, when we look at the faces, right, especially the MSMEs, if they can be helped, can be supported, and create the foundation of our economy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that gives me energy.
Yeah, wow. That was not even the question. You already answered very complete. So you were chairing the ASEAN's Business Advisory Council this year.
Yeah.
And we just want to know, what are the current members of ASEAN-BAC, and which members attended the 42nd summit this year?
So, I mean, ASEAN, as you know, there is 10 countries. And then, and this year, as you know, Timor-Leste is also part of the observer, right? So, because with that, what happened to the ASEAN Business Councils, we have all the 10 businesses. I mean, we have, from each country, businesses that in a business councils, usually there's 3 people. But attending today is actually, there's 1 or 2, but actually all the chair of the ASEAN Business Council for every nation. What's very interesting, we complete, there's been what? We have our friends from Myanmar, the business is here also participating. And then also our business from Timor-Leste is also participating. So it's actually a very complete ASEAN from the business perspective. And this is very important because ASEAN, one thing is the government, the G2G, but what's more important is actually the people-to-people, business-to-business.
All right. So apart from the spirit of centrality, you mentioned that it is inclusive and leaving no one behind.
Yes.
So what are the agendas that are being discussed in the meetings with the 10 members, including even Timor-Leste?
Yes. Now, we spoke about a lot of things, but what is very important that we actually discuss in this situation is that we have 5 priorities, and so these 5 priorities is something that we always bring to the conversation, is actually the sustainable development. We are talking about food security, we're talking about digital transformation, we are talking about health resilience, and of course, trade and investment facilitation. But all of this, right, encompasses towards what the theme of ASEAN. ASEAN matters, the epicenter of growth. And when at the business we say, okay, epicenter of growth, and this is what we brought in, is that we say, yes, the business must create a centrality. That's why we say ASEAN centrality. And you mentioned the 3 words, the inclusivity, and also the so-called innovation. Now is how to create this innovation, to think out of the box, to make sure ASEAN centrality happens, but focuses on actually the people. When we talk about the people, most of the people we are talking about micro, small, medium enterprises.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is something like, for example, the Philippine president was mentioning about the importance of nano as an example, right? And I say, yes, that's aligned, very aligned with what we are doing. Because one of the main theme that we discuss is digital transformation. And this one is really how to upgrade and to make sure nobody's left behind, from nano, micro, small, all of them. Yeah, but again, we also discuss about the drivers, right, of this. What is the drivers of this epicentrum of growth? Yeah, from the perspective of business, you know. So we say there's five things. Number one is economic resilience. Number two is demographic dividends. Number three is digitally promising.
Yeah.
Number four is the green economy prospect, and of course the vast consumer base. Yeah, so all of this must be incorporated as the meaning from our perspective as the epicentrum of growth. And so those are the discussion. And it was a great conversation we had with the leaders.
That's great. Well, Southeast Asia has proven that even during the pandemic, we could actually survive the pandemic quite well compared to other regions in the world. What about businesses that have not been included in this Business Advisory Council? What are the efforts to include them in?
First, I just want to say I like that word resilience because the resilience, that's how ASEAN is, right? That's how we are able to have an average economic growth in ASEAN at 5%, right? And we have a tremendous market of 280 million people. And now, in order for us to be able to work with everyone on inclusive basis, that's why we went for a roadshow. You know, we went to every country in ASEAN, except, I mean, there's two more, which is Thailand, because they're going to have their election today, this time. And at the same time, Laos, because it's just a matter of scheduling. But we've spoke to all of them. And this is very important. This is where we want to be creating that inclusivity to make sure that we talk to every chambers and we talk to how to create this program for micro, small, medium enterprises. Yeah, and this is where also we bring our legacy project of what we call wiki entrepreneurship to make sure that everyone, yeah, in the micro, small, medium enterprise can be connected within ASEAN, and also to create what we call 3M, which is number one is mentoring them, number two is to create access market for them, and the third one is the funding or the money. So the 3M, you know. So that is something that we why it is for everyone. And we are giving all information to every companies, every nation. And this is what's we even actually have one more, which basically will include everyone, which is the legacy of a QR code payment system, right? Because with this QR code, everyone can actually pay with QR code in local currencies.
Right.
And, as I can say, we can save up to 2% on transactional costs because we don't have to go to international. We can do it within ASEAN. So all of this are to capture all the inclusiveness.
Right.
And that's why the key of inclusiveness, not leaving behind, is not just words or motto,
Yeah.
but it is the project, it is what we are doing, and this is what we want to push. And you know what's happened? It's very aligned with the government. You know, the central bank, finance ministers, and all the ministers. And with this is great, you know. So, we have the same voice. The government is pushing for that. We are pushing for that. It should work.
What about the traits from Indonesia, you think, if you were talking regionally, not only that would represent our country, but what are the traits of Indonesia to make all these things happen?
This is a very good question. What we have to see is, let's not talk about the traditional commodities or traditional sectors, right? Let's talk about digitalization, but more than that, we discuss also or push for what we call the EV strategy of ASEAN, which is very aligned with the government. Yeah, that they're pushing for the EV.
Yeah.
When we went to the Philippines, as an example, right? We talked with the Filipinos businesses. We talked with the Philippines government, right? And we went there and we want to share with them what we have done, right? In our so-called value added or what we call the hilirisasi or downstreaming. And we say, we've created so much value because of this. This is where we are pushing for that intra-ASEAN investment to increase intra-ASEAN trades.
Right.
And this is where we want to strengthen ASEAN as a regional supply chains, because we know from the pandemic, it actually was a breakdown of the global supply chains. So we want to strengthen this what I call the regional supply chains in order to be part of the global supply chains.
Right.
So what you will see is that Straits of Indonesia, as an example, we have all the minerals for electric vehicles, right? Besides, what we have is nickels. Yes, one thing that we can collaborate and do complementary values. We can create complementary values in our bauxite, as an example, right? But once we can also create value added there. So all of these are, the creations of new things. That is what been, the future is.
Yeah.
And we are participating in that. And Indonesia, for sure, in our opinion, can be creating more competitive value by these trades, but not only the ASEAN trade, but being the global supply chain.
Right. Now let's talk about the digital technologies. We know that Southeast Asia has been the continent that has rapidly
Yes.
growing and very much
Oh,
developed in
yes.
it. So what opportunities and challenges you think in digital technologies and e-commerce are present for ASEAN businesses?
First, let me talk about the challenge before actually the benefit, right? Because for the benefit, I think is clear, right? This digital transformation for ASEAN, where the foundation of our economy is the micro, small, medium enterprises.
Yeah.
With this digitalization, will create a leapfrog for all of them and create a better foundation. And this will actually increase the prosperity of the people. That's where important is, right? But the challenge, this is the biggest challenge for all of us, including Indonesia. Maybe I exclude Singapore in a way because they're more, more advanced than other ASEAN countries, is the human capital, right? What happened is this, right? We keep the digital transformation will create efficiencies, will create higher productivity, but at the same time, it will actually eliminate jobs, right? This is the key. The thing is, this is Industrial Revolution 4.0, they say it. But it could be a social revolution if we don't do anything to that.
Yeah.
So the key is really human capital. And this is where we also discuss how one another can actually help to improve our human capital. Particularly preparing them for this digital world and preparing them for the actual, what will happen in the future. Everybody's worried about, like ChatGPT that we have now. You can just ask anything on AI and it can answer it all, right?
True.
But at the same time, we need to make sure that the skills moving forward, which is going to be different because of this digital world, we have to make sure we are ready for all the new employee coming in, so all the new students for our younger generation. But at the same time, we need to prepare the laborers. We need to reskill them, upskill them. And thus are I can say the challenges that actually all of us in ASEAN should take. And if we can overcome this, oh my God.
Yeah, but I mean, Indonesia is a big country with a demographic bonus, so...
No, that's the point.
Yeah.
This bonus demography, yes, it is true. We have a bonus demography, but we have not gotten this
Yes.
bonus demography. If we don't do anything to our people, it's not about bonus demography.
Exactly. The big chunk of the homework is to have them skilled. And having special expertise so that they
Yes.
don't be replaced with
Definitely,
AIs, for example.
yes. But to create more jobs in the future that
Yeah.
with the right skill.
All right, sir. So what are the main economic, political priorities of the Indonesian presidency of ASEAN? And how does the government plan to collaborate with ASEAN Business Advisory Council?
Oh yes,
in this
one of the
case?
things that we discuss is actually the ASEAN vision of 2045, right? And this is aligned actually with what we are, two things we are doing. In Indonesia itself, Kadin as Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we are preparing what we call the roadmap toward Indonesia 2045, right? So now with ASEAN vision of 2045, right? We are very supportive of this. We were having that conversation during these dialogues, right? And we say we support, and I think to fill in those vision, we would like to really be part of that process because this is very critical important, even for Indonesia, right? Because if you look at Indonesia and also the ASEAN is almost the same, whereby, we are going in the next 10 years, we are going to face what we call the challenge of the middle income trap.
Yeah.
And that's the key. How do we get out of there? Bapak Jokowi, our president, always keeps saying, right? Hey, look at South America. There's so many so-called developing countries there, developing economies. But they keep developing. They will never get out of being developed. Developing cannot be a developed countries. Indonesia cannot be that. ASEAN cannot be that. So this is the part that we need to really important to create that roadmap for ASEAN. Of course, we have to also, we are doing for Indonesia, and something what we should do for ASEAN too.
That's great. Mr. Rasjid, thank you so much for
No,
coming to
appreciate
see today and speaking with us about the Business Advisory Council of ASEAN. And
Yes.
hopefully all the agendas and
Yes.
plans
Yes.
will go accordingly.
No, thank you very much and appreciate being here. And I do believe this is success for Indonesia and this chairmanship of Indonesia. And we are inviting everyone, please come for September 3, 4, 5
In
in
Jakarta.
Jakarta, where we have the ASEAN Business Investment Summit and also the ASEAN Indo-Pacific Forum.
There you go. The invitation is already out from Mr. Arsjad Rasjid himself. And that's the special coverage from the 42nd ASEAN Summit 2023. Live from Labuan Bajo, my name is Rahma Alia, and bye-bye for now.